Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Play Like a They. I'm Monica.
I'm Sarah.
And today's topic is very cool and very exciting. It's a lot of off the court vibes, but a little bit on the court, but mostly off the
Heck
court.
yeah.
Yeah, or off the field court. I always go
Yeah.
straight to court, but off the field, off the pitch, wherever they are. We're talking about fashion and sports and the evolution of that and our favorite fashion icons right now in sports and people who have changed the game, all the things. Really excited to dive into this topic. Yeah, how are you feeling about it, Sarah?
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, I think nobody can argue that sports has not had a huge influence on fashion and the culture in fashion and what like everyone wears today. So I'm super excited about
Yeah,
it.
so excited. And I think
Mhm.
also, at least in basketball, and I think other sports are like doing it as well too now, the league fits like trend, like in the
Yes.
NBA and the WNBA are just like huge.
Mhm.
Like that's part of the game now. Like each game
Absolutely.
has league fits as they walk into the tunnel.
Absolutely.
So it's really cool to see it more like overtly happening, I think, in sports and how much people, athletes are an influence on what everyone wears. But also,
Mhm.
I think for me, like, too, WNBA players, like, just being these like fashion icons for like
Mhm.
young girls and maybe like gender expansive people and like seeing,
Mhm.
seeing them be the spotlight instead of just men in fashion.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm excited to dive into it and the kind of the history of where that started.
Yes. And you said something to me before we started recording, which was about tennis and golf. And I want to hear
Yeah.
more of how some of the origins of this started there. So
Mhm.
take it away.
Yeah. So I was doing a bit of research about this, but it actually so fashion in athletics in particular started to really change in around like the 1920s. And it started with two tennis players, Jane Regni and Suzanne Langlin. Hopefully I said that correctly. But anyway, they kind of realized that the clothes that women were expected to wear when playing sports was not functional. They couldn't move
Yeah.
well at all, right? Like men were always allowed to wear,
Oh my gosh.
pants, and shorts, and just like cotton shirts and whatever to like move around. But women, no. So
Yeah.
they got rid of the corset and all of that stuff. And that's actually where the pleated skirt came into fashion,
Mm,
was because women had to wear skirts.
oh my gosh.
They couldn't, yeah, right.
You
They
should have
couldn't wear
seen the basketball
pants.
skirts back then. They were
Oh,
wild.
Jesus.
They were so big and bulky and long. Like I can't even
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
And probably hot as hell,
Oh
right?
my, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, like, this is where fashion started to change. So, you see these big pleated skirts now. At least they were able to, move their legs and move around the court and whatever.
Yeah.
So, now we see this fashion trend in sports. And now, everyday women
Mhm.
are looking at this and being like, well, I just want to be able to like walk around my house and not feel
Yeah.
restricted, right?
Yeah.
So that happens. And then, tennis and golf actually really set the fashion trend of athleisure.
Hmm.
Um, but now you see that sort of turned into this like preppy trend, right?
Yeah.
With the
Which
polos
makes
and the
sense for
bright
golf
colors and
and
yeah, it
tennis.
makes so
Yeah.
much sense. That's where you see the sweater vest come into fashion because golfers used to wear, the short sleeve shirts with the
Yeah.
sweater vest over it. So that's where, and then not only that, but it became a symbol of class,
Hmm.
right? These people who are wearing more of this like preppy style of clothing, it was a symbol of they had more money,
Yeah.
right? And golf and tennis typically are known as like rich people sports. They cost a lot of money,
They do.
and it's not cheap to play these sports.
No.
So anyway, that happens. Um, but then in like the mid 1900s, towards the later 1900s, now you see actually in Europe, you see these football clubs, these soccer clubs,
Hmm.
these men are wearing, tracksuits on planes as when they travel, all of
Yep.
these things. That's influencing more of sort of the male fashion. And then you get into sneakers,
Yep.
right? Now, sneakers really, I think, well, I know that sneakers really became a symbol of fashion through Adidas first, actually, in a lesser known way, but that's where the Stan Smiths come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a tennis shoe, but not really like a functional tennis shoe. And they kind of knew that, but then
Yeah.
everyone started to wear them, right?
Yeah.
But then you see Michael Jordan
Yeah.
and Air Jordan and the Jordans come on the scene in like the 90s ish.
Yeah.
And
And I
that's when
think,
it really started to take off.
yeah, and especially for like athletes' shoes, which is amazing with them getting a cut, him getting a cut of the actual revenue of
Yeah.
Jordans. But also, I feel like Converse in the like 70s and 80s
Yes.
too were probably that vibe
Mhm.
as well. Like I couldn't say for sure, but you know, men's basketball players were wearing Converse on the court, which is wild. Like
Right? Like no
regular
support.
lace up, like high top white Converse, which is what everyone wears now, by the way. They're like so in trend right now.
Yeah,
And yeah, and then they became popular off the court too. Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, athletes have like always been paving the way for that
Always.
kind of stuff. And then there's the, I think the trend setting and then the double standards in sports with like the uniforms, which is less what we're talking about but it was just always to me like, oh my gosh, like recently Wimbledon the women having to wear white.
Oh, God.
Like, and being like,
Yeah.
yeah, we menstruate. Like, this is not ideal for us. This is another thing that's distracting us from the game because we have to worry about if this is happening while we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Because no doubt it would be this whole thing if they were to like,
Well,
bleed through
obviously.
like so it's and then like beach volleyball players in their uniforms versus what the
Mhm.
men wear, like just yeah, that's
It's a
wild.
whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So like there's fashion and making things more functional,
Yep.
but don't forget
Yep.
that women have to be
Yeah,
sexualized.
absolutely. Don't forget that has to be a part of the
Like it's just so,
uniform.
oh
Yeah.
my God, I can't.
Yeah, it's so
Um,
but back to what you were saying, streetwear also
yeah.
huge.
So that comes onto the scene too. Mostly that, so the streetwear gets wrapped up, it's like athleisure, but then also gets pushed out and wrapped up into East Coast, specifically New York City rap culture.
Yeah.
So that's where you see like Run DMC wearing Adidas All Stars.
Mhm.
And then those shoes started to take off, right? That's where you see like more of the baggy jeans, basketball shorts, like
Yeah.
longer basketball shorts.
Yeah.
That starts to take off. These like, the white tank top look.
Mhm.
That's gym wear, right? Like
Mhm.
that starts to take off. So we see the influence of at that time, like
Yeah.
late 80s into the 90s, basketball culture is really influencing the streetwear in the rap culture. And if you listen to the music, they all talk about basketball,
Yeah.
all of them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool too.
Yeah, and then you have players like Allen Iverson who got a lot of like flack for
Yeah.
the way like his style and the way he dressed and like, of course the racism there and then
Mm-hmm.
changing the now we have league fits because of players like him who really
Yep.
like pushed that issue when they were playing and really like paved the way for that to like I'm not wearing a suit all the time because that's
Yeah.
not who I am. I'm not
No,
doing that.
absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And we see that too. We see like the culture of suits in, even still like hockey players,
Yeah.
they don't wear like fits walking into the locker room. Like
Yeah.
they have to wear a suit and tie.
Yeah.
And I feel like that culture of, looking quote unquote professional
Mhm.
comes
Yeah.
from like the tennis golf sort of movement of more of like that preppy, quote unquote professional
Yeah.
looking attire, which is steeped in racism
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Yes. The progression, the evolution, the all of it is yeah. It's always for me, even though like there are trailblazers and they go through, the trials and tribulations of and consequences of being trailblazers, but seeing them like literally change the game, but also like change how people interact with the game, how they like mimic the game, the fashion that
mhm.
comes out of that. Yeah, is really, really cool.
And I love that Serena Williams, I feel like she really changed the way people look at tennis attire as well,
Yeah.
right? Because before she really started to wear these, outlandish outfits and
Yeah.
colors and yeah, right. And
Yeah.
like skirts and glitter and like all
Yeah.
of these things. If you've ever seen, viewers listening, if you've ever seen her evolution of like the things that she's worn over the decades,
Yeah,
it's pretty like, and she definitely got some flack for that,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Like not only is she a Black woman,
Yeah.
but she's choosing to wear these like
Flashy.
not tennis. Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Not
clutch my
tennis,
pearls,
flashy.
right?
Clutch
Like,
my, yeah. Yep. Yep.
so like that's cool too, that I think she really set the stage and set the precedence. Now she had to go through lots of things for that to become acceptable, but
Mhm.
thanks to her, I think now it is a little bit more acceptable to be wearing these things,
Yeah.
playing sports. So
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
cool.
Yeah. It's super cool. And then, all the, I mean, the athleisure, like you were saying, it's just like a huge, I mean, for me, even like in the, oh my gosh, when were the Spice Girls? The late 90s.
Yeah.
Sporty Spice, like that was my girl.
Duh. The,
Duh.
like tearaway track pants. Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Yeah, like seriously. And sneakers, all the sneakers. Always like I was like, yes, like this is who I want to be. And there's finally someone
Yeah.
who's like doing it in everyday life. Like she just wears track
Mhm.
pants all the time. All the
Mhm.
time. And
Mhm.
I was like, wow,
So great.
what a vibe. What a
I
vibe that
love
I can
it.
do now. And then in high school, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna wear track pants.
That's it.
They're so much more comfortable. I don't need to wear
I
jeans.
know. 100%. I'm right there with
100%.
you.
Hundo P.
um,
um,
well, so who are some of your favorite people now to like
yeah,
see their fits
to
and
see their fits. I mean, yeah, if there's any sport where they can change what they wear on the court, like tennis, like that is like so exciting to me.
Mhm.
But the sport that my favorite sport, basketball, they don't. I mean, there are some trends like Asia Wilson started the wearing one like sleeve and the other
Mhm.
short, like really high up. There are some things that like basketball players do a little bit on the court, but less of an opportunity because, there's a uniform. There's the shorts, the jersey, and you have to have it tucked in, whatever. There's
Mhm.
like less things you can do for sure. But league fits, I think started in basketball.
Mhm.
Um,
Definitely.
Maybe started in the NBA, and then the WNBA now has been spotlighting them during their
Mhm.
season, which is super cool. And I think like for me, there's a few players, but definitely the Aces are like, I mean, they're crushing it. The Las Vegas Aces are crushing it in more than one way.
Oh
They
my
just
God.
clinched their playoff spot.
Super team.
Super team. I think they've only lost 2 games this entire season.
Mhm.
But 2 players on that team, Kelsey Plum and Asia Wilson, are like 2 that are crushing it in the space. And Kelsey Plum has a lot more like gender neutral like clothing that I really
Mhm.
like a lot of like trouser pants and really cool jackets and
Mhm.
like tops and things like that I just like really love, like very sleek and very like gender neutral. And then Asia Wilson just, I mean, she goes for it. She just has like a really like she'll do like a real like a cool skirt and a t-shirt and just like the mix of kind of like more feminine and then like just wearing a t-shirt and being a little bit more masculine at the same time, like a lot of cargo pants. Like I love streetwear and cargo pants and
Mhm.
sneakers, of course, lots of
Mhm.
great sneakers. And then Isabel Harrison is another player on the sky that I really
Mhm.
like love her outfits. They're like higher like on the I would say like on like higher fashion side. But fashion is something and street style is something like I do go with my style, like a little more streetwear on the
Mhm.
masculine side, but it is something in my gender expression that I want to like explore a little more
Yeah.
of the feminine side that I haven't done. I think because of the block of, people misgendering me or something. Like it's really like, with clothing, it's like if I choose a more masculine outfit, like there's just less of a chance. So I
Yeah.
think I kind of like have to or want to, not have to, but want to like maybe detach my like gender, like how people see me gender wise from like
Mhm.
my fashion. Like that's hard because like that's kind of like a big part of how we identify, but I want to be able to like explore more feminine things and not like attach my gender to that and not worry about people like misinterpreting who I am just because, you know, I look the way
Yeah.
I look. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. I think, side note, I was scrolling through TikTok and like I have really started to like shop in the men's section because I like the
Yeah.
way their clothes fit me a little
100%.
better.
Yeah.
However, pants can be really difficult because like
Ugh.
I have hips, right? Like I
Same.
am like
Yeah.
anatomically like a female,
Yeah.
right?
I have
And
a
so
sizable butt too, so that makes
yeah.
it very hard.
And men's pants are sort of like this, right?
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
have any room for anyway.
Yeah.
So this person was saying, you can like all of these clothes I've bought in the women's section and they
Mhm.
still look, more masculine in the way that I like to dress.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, and I would like to start exploring that part as well.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. What about you? Some icons
yeah,
for you?
so I Ashlyn Harris is like definitely my style icon. She's
Yeah.
like, and honestly, half the clothes I probably wouldn't even wear. And I don't know if it's because
That's
I
the
don't
same
like
with
them
like
or
who
like,
I was
yeah,
like
like,
yeah, for sure like Asia Wilson and Isabel. Like I don't know if I would wear a lot of what they wear, but it's just like like they're so like great at their own style. And what I just love seeing
yes.
people embracing their own style. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I only like folks that wear a style or like rock a style that I would. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh man, like their drip is crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like mad respect, mad
Yeah.
respect. But
Yeah.
Ashlyn Harris 100% is like my style icon. I mean, even it's not even that long ago, but like dating back to 2014-ish when, you know, I think she and the women's national team again were starting to get a little bit more popular.
Mhm.
And she was like, I mean, if you look at pictures of Ashlyn Harris around like 2014, 15,
Yeah.
it's like the jeans, the like solid
Right.
color, t-shirt, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit of like gold chain, some really cool shades, like simple
Yeah.
mass style. And now watching her evolution, like she wears colors and,
Yeah.
fitted things mixed with baggy things and sick shoes. And she has
Yeah.
like a mullet haircut now. And she's like so freaking cool. I can't
So
even
cool.
take it. Even like I think they have created a spot for her on Gotham FC. She's the creative director,
Oh, that's
which
so
like
cool.
she
Yeah.
creates all of like, the Pride line that comes out
Yeah.
during the season, and
That's a
like
great idea.
it's so cool. And I'm
Yeah.
like, her 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that I think has influenced women's soccer in that way, because if you
Yeah.
look at like the team fits
It's
with
revving up.
of Gotham
Yeah.
FC, like it's like the LA teams, like you see these women
Yep.
dressing more, like they got some swag,
They
and
got
I
some
love
swag
that.
and feel like they can, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like, oh my gosh, even seeing um like NWSL players on like courtside at WNBA games and people
Yeah.
talking about their fits like
It's a
there.
whole thing.
Yeah, because courtside at basketball games is like a whole thing. Oh my god.
Honestly, if you don't dress for courtside, I don't know
Like,
what you're
what
doing.
are you doing? Like, really? And speaking of courtside, like sneakers on courtside,
Mm.
because you're sitting there, everyone can see your feet, you've got your legs crossed, your little sneakers popping.
Mhm.
Like, it's a big thing.
You
And
gotta
then, of
look
course,
good.
you gotta look good. And then sneakers and basketball culture,
Big
huge,
thing.
big thing. Like stemming back from what you talked about earlier. But even the like cyclical nature of fashion and seeing like
Mhm.
sambas are huge right now. And like
Huge.
those were like, I mean, I played soccer in them when I
Yeah,
was like, I
soccer
played indoor
shoes.
soccer when I was younger
Mhm.
and I played in them, but also wore them because I always loved the style. And it's like so interesting to see them like come back around. Converse too,
Yeah.
like the high top white
Mhm.
Converse specifically
Mhm.
are like and then Air Force Ones, white Air Force Ones, even right now with
Yo,
Gen Z, it's like it's wild.
I remember wearing them in middle school,
Yeah.
and I still had my same pair from middle
Wow.
school. And I took them out of my closet,
Yeah.
a few years ago, because they were like, back in style. But I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
it's really cool how like
Wow, you could
fashion
wear
is so
those after
cyclical.
that's wild. You could
I
still
know
wear
my
them?
feet were like, yeah, I
They
guess
were
I
already
didn't
grown out.
grow. Yeah, I guess
Bruh,
so.
my
Maybe it was
feet
like 8th grade.
grew half a size when I was like 22 years old.
Damn.
So I had to like get rid
Not
of my
me.
like sneaker collection and like start over. It was so sad.
That's like so
Yeah,
sad.
like I was trying and I was like, my feet hurt. I can't wear these. Like it was so weird. Like in length. Like they grew in
Hmm.
length. Like
That's so
it
crazy.
was so weird because I feel like width that could happen as you get older,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
length, I was like, oh my gosh, what a
Oh
bummer.
no. Yeah.
What a bummer. But I would say too, like growing up in basketball, like basketball shoes that you played with on the court were huge. Like even
Hmm.
to have your like sneaker game high on the court is like people had heat. Like for me when the Iversons came out, I was like I have to have these and
Yo,
thankfully I did. I was like I
the
had maybe I was
Iversons.
like 13. I can't like change
Yeah,
the like timeline
I
really.
that makes sense.
Yeah, something like that. And I was just like these are the coolest shoes ever.
Ever,
Like ever.
ever.
I had some and ones when and one came out with shoes
Hmm.
because, and one was like, we were like, oh my God, like the and one guys, the
The one
street
pair of shoes
basketball.
that I really wanted, but I never got was the Reebok pump shoes. Those
Yes.
were so sick. And like I never had them and it always made me so sad.
You're like, this will always be the FOMO for me. Oh my gosh, it's so true. And so many basketball players who had shoes where it was
Hmm.
just like, I mean, Kobe's are wild. Like with
Yeah.
the amount that people pay for them now, like it's a big thing. But yeah, sneaker like Jordan's just, I mean,
They're always gonna top the market,
they are
like you
always,
can't
yeah,
argue that. But
no,
sneakers, like, yeah.
yeah.
And also sports has going off the sneaker trend too, athleisure has really influenced luxury brands
Oh yeah,
too, right? And if we look at Megan Rapinoe, for example, she is like Ashlyn Harris definitely embodies street style.
yeah,
And not that Megan Rapinoe doesn't, but I feel like Megan Rapinoe has more of like a luxury high end
yeah,
style,
yeah,
right? She wears like
absolutely, yeah.
trousers and like fitted jackets with like a really cool graphic tee underneath.
And
Like
wild
that's her
sweaters,
thing. And
her
like, yeah, and
sweaters, yeah,
wild sweat, right?
yeah, yeah.
But like sneakers, like if you look at, Gucci and
Mhm.
um, you know,
Even Coach back in the day, like
yeah,
I went to school with some like wealthy people.
yeah.
So even seeing like Coach sneakers like back in the
Mhm.
day, I was like, "Oh wow, this
Mhm.
seems like interesting." But I didn't know
Right?
then that it was probably being
No.
influenced by like sports culture and streetwear and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Prada and Balenciaga and all of
Yeah. Oh
them
my
have
gosh,
like
Balenciaga. Yeah.
they're more of like a street luxury brand.
Yeah.
But still, like it's just
Yeah.
shoes are important.
Shoes are very important.
Shoes are important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always been a thing. Shoes have always been part of like my biggest like,
Mhm.
like style identity for sure.
Yeah.
Like definitely. For me, it's
Yeah.
like everything else I could like as long as I have like great like sneakers specifically, like sure shoes
Mhm.
in general, but like, I
Mhm.
definitely used to wear and still wear like Doc Martens are like a huge
Sure.
like part of my style too, but yeah, sneakers like it's like I can clothing, I can like whatever, but having a good pair of sneakers, especially for comfort too. Like for me, it was always comfort as well. Like, even still, I wear the Jordans that are most comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Like even still, like Jordan ones are the most comfortable for me. I love fours,
Mhm.
but they hurt my feet, so I
Mhm.
can only wear them for
Mhm.
like a little bit. But
I feel
it's
you on that.
been always about comfort. Same with like Sporty
Mhm.
Spice and streetwear. I like the vibe,
Mhm.
but I'm also like, I just want to be
Mhm.
comfortable. Like I'm trying to live my
Yeah.
life.
Right?
Like I'm not
Like
trying
I
to
gotta move around, bruh. I'm
yeah.
not trying to like
I don't need a
I'm trying
low-rise
to
jeans
eat.
in my life. Yeah, I'm trying to eat. I don't want any low-rise jeans in my life. Those coming back around, I was like, "Please don't. Can we not?
Never.
Can
I
we
will
not?"
never.
No. Oh,
Terrible.
man. The vibes back then were so wild. So wild. But yeah, I mean, could say so much more about fashion and sports and how they influence, like, every day. I feel like now more
Yeah.
than ever, like, the evolution of it is wild. Like, now, everyone wears athleisure and streetwear.
Everyone. Like
Everyone.
yoga pants. I mean, we can
Yeah.
even talk about yoga pants.
Yeah.
But I also think, bringing this to what this podcast is all about,
Yeah.
like, I think fashion and the ability to explore that has
Yeah.
really given queer, non-binary, trans athletes the ability to really express themselves through their clothing. And that is such
Absolutely.
a beautiful thing. Like they
Yeah.
don't have to show up in, a pantsuit anymore. They
No.
don't have to show up in like, a business dress with like pearl
Yeah.
earrings anymore. Like that's not
Yeah, the
a thing. They
feminine
can
side
show
of
up. Yeah.
yeah.
They can show up in the clothes that make them feel like themselves, that
Yeah.
make them feel comfortable. And I think that's really important when it comes to mental health on the field
Yep.
and like building camaraderie with your team and your fans and like
Absolutely.
the club itself. So I think that's like really special too.
Really special. And I think it's like, even if, if you're out or not out, it's like that's still something to be able to like be yourself in, which is really important. Like for me, it definitely would have. And like when I saw like even Sporty Spice and these athletes doing it, even though I didn't know what it meant for me, like I didn't know until a few
No.
years ago that I was non-binary, but I knew that was more like who I am. And
Yeah,
like the clothing and the ability for me to do that like made me more comfortable in my own skin. So yeah.
absolutely.
And sports empowered me to do that. Like it was a space where it's like I was an athlete. So when I went to school in like athleisure, like that was like, yeah, like they play basketball. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
And like whether you're a sports person or not, I think it's hard to argue against the fact that I think sports has been a vehicle for people to take political action on things,
yep.
and really push for the things that like make them feel whole and for what they want. And like,
Yeah.
I think identity and having a sense of belonging is a big part of that.
Huge part of it.
Mhm.
Which yeah, I think we've talked about in episodes before, like how that sense of belonging happened in team sports and how it didn't. But I think in this case, like that was definitely a huge sense of belonging for me. And
Mhm.
just a lot of teammates had the same like style and like kind of,
Yeah.
latched onto the same things because we were all like, okay, we know that there's
Yeah.
some other thing, like there's some other part of us that's not able to come out, but we get to like channel it into, our style and what we get to wear off the court that's acceptable. Maybe it's not acceptable and or like, what's the word, ladylike and other in
Sure.
other like, aspects of life, but there we get to just do that. And I think it was a very like important part of my like growing up and evolution into my gender for sure.
Absolutely. Same.
Oh my gosh, I hate the term ladylike. I can just like feel it when I say it.
Ugh. It's like
Ugh,
crawling.
it's crawling. There was a basketball game, like a real quick story, a basketball game when I was maybe like 16 and we were playing a tournament. It wasn't a school tournament, it was like an AAU tournament. And one of my teammates missed a layup and she just said to herself, she was like, shit. And the ref gave her a technical.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was,
Because it wasn't ladylike.
yeah, 100%. He said it out loud. Like, it's not ladylike. And I got a technical because I was like, fuck that.
Good for you.
Yeah. I was like, we know, like, the boys are doing that all. Are you giving them technicals? No,
No.
absolutely not. Like, that double standard. And like, and it was about being ladylike. And it's just like, yo, I didn't know there was layers of me being upset about that, at the
Yeah.
time. But even just the double standard, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm just
Man.
so, yeah. Even at 16, I was like, ugh, the rebellion, the rebellion on the court,
Hell
though.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
was so strong, was so strong. But it really did give me a platform to not be ladylike all the time. Cause
Mhm.
people call it being a tomboy. I was since I was like, a super small kid. So it was like, oh, this is a place where it's more mainstream, which was
Mhm.
hugely important to me, feeling like I belonged and understood a lot more than before.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
Oh my gosh, what a fun episode.
Right? I love talking about fashion. I like
Yeah.
have these big dreams and aspirations to like, I don't know, be like a fashionista. And like I don't think I think I have good style, but it's,
Oh, fashionista is
like
like
I
a
said,
whole,
I would not wear half the clothes Harris wears, but she's just an
but
icon,
respect. Yeah.
Yeah, mad respect.
Respect. Yeah, I think it's a really good feeling. Like here, yeah, I don't think I know I have good style. And when
Yeah,
people like comment on it, I'm just like, oh, that feels so good. Like it really does.
right?
When people are like, wow, like the drip is crazy right now. I'm
I know.
so much because I didn't not do it intentionally.
Sure, sure, sure.
So
Of
it's like,
course.
yeah, it's like I left the house putting together an outfit and like, yeah, it's for me, but it's like this is a whole culture out there. Like this is like, and I love giving other people compliments like out in the
Mhm.
world because it's like you're doing your thing and I see you. Like I
Mhm.
want you to know
Mhm.
that I see you. I
Yes.
love when people do that to me, that like nod, like yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I love the nod, the understanding.
I feel
The
that. I
non-binary
feel that.
nod.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing. And even the queer nod is like another like
I love it. I
so
know.
good. So good.
It's like a little secret you have that no one else knows.
I know. I love it. And it's like, I don't think I've ever gotten or given a nod and not been nod back. Like, I don't think
Yes.
it's ever happened.
Down.
It's never happened.
Every time.
Yeah, every
10
time.
for 10, baby.
10 for 10. I'm just like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, as they say. But I'm 100. I'm 100% right now.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, thanks for giving the history at the beginning
Yeah.
of the episode. That was super, super cool. And thanks everyone for listening. Please like, subscribe wherever you are, review us if you feel so inclined, and we are on Instagram at Play Like a They. Please message us anything you think. We'd love to take recs for what we should talk about. It's really important that we talk about things that y'all think are important. So hit us up. Yeah, anything else, Sarah?
No, just thanks. And commenting really helps. So
yeah.
If you like us,
let us know.
Us.
You like our drip? Let us know. Like
exactly.
Let us know. Maybe we'll start posting some of it on the Instagram. Maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the move. I think it is. I think it is. All right. Sneaker pics on the Instagram. Fit pics on the Instagram. Our own league fits.
That's right.
Okay, cool. We'll see y'all in the next episode. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.